So from now on, this is gonna be a YouTube video in my channel. I have asked for permission of YGO if I could react to this video because I thought that he was making some very interesting points. I'm not saying right or wrong points, but I just want to discuss it. So everyone in the chat, I want you to be respectful. I do not care if you like or dislike this YouTuber, we're gonna be objective. And basically we're gonna have a nice discussion. So, without further ado, let's begin.
Rather important. So today we're going to be talking about spreadsheets. I personally hate these. I think that they're really awful for the game. I feel like they're really toxic for the community, and we're going to talk about why that is. If you haven't already checked out my sponsors or an RW, Cloud, Gem, Arla, Imperium, Dragon Shoulder, Grimoire, definitely go ahead and do so, all down below in the description. Also, go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already. I appreciate all of you. And, you know, this is a rather huge topic in the community. And it's something that did blow up a couple of months ago. But it's something that I really want to give my own 2 cents on because spreadsheets are truly terrible for the game. First and foremost.
First of all, I just want to say that I agree with this. One, we had a bit of spreadsheet drama a few months ago with, I believe it was Pac and Ness. Whom I have nothing against these people, but the thing of buy the spreadsheet so you can learn the game is just not true. The spreadsheet doesn't help you learn the game, it's just there to help you learn some combos and how to potentially play through some hand traps. I also sell a spreadsheet which does not only have combos, but it also has matchup knowledge and key stuff there. But I'm not selling only the spreadsheet, I'm also selling personal coaching, and that's what makes the difference. Because just buying a spreadsheet doesn't help anyone, except some specific instances. For example, I had one person say that he doesn't have time for the coaching, and that's why he wants to have the spreadsheet so he can learn the combos as fast as possible. That I respect. Many people do not have the time to sit down and optimize a deck, deck build theory, learn the deck in its full potential from someone who does. So they just buy a spreadsheet and they hope to learn the combos there. And also many people have already existent game knowledge, so when they see the combos they can figure out basically what to do from there. Obviously this is not the majority of the players, but spreadsheets are in general bad for the game, so I agree with this. The problem is not the spreadsheet, the problem are the people that think too much of them. No, the problem is asking $25 for a copy of an Excel. Okay. First of all, yes, if you only focus on the spreadsheet and the spreadsheet combos, most likely you're not gonna do well in a tournament, because to top a tournament you have to have the ability of improvising depending on the game state and taking choices that they are not in the spreadsheet. And as much as for the fee that each person sells, that depends on the buyer. If a person is willing to waste the money, it's fine. I mean, $25, $50 might seem a lot to someone, but to some other people who are willing to buy, it's just not much. So yeah, let's continue with the video though.
Just don't buy the spreadsheet. This is something that I feel is not healthy at all. And, you know, this is something that my friend said that, you know, I do wholeheartedly agree with. Just at the beginning of this video, I want to just make sure this is very known and clear, is that the information in the game shouldn't be gatekept by a paywall. And this directly coincides with me doing a card drive, is a lot of people can't afford to play this game, let alone traveling and putting in a lot of the testing hours. This is kind of crazy to be like, okay, you're gonna pay like this much money, and sometimes it's like $40 or $50, upwards of like $100 for like these spreadsheets. And we're going to talk about today why that is such a waste of money and other things that you realistically can do. And don't get me wrong, like, If you feel like this is going to be the way to really up your game, then sure, go ahead. But I feel like these are so negative for the game just because, like, as a content creator, right? And even watching some of the more, like, pro players go off and make these spreadsheets, it feels like the community is kind of just getting scalped to a point, right? Like, we're seeing that in Pokemon right now, where, like, if you want to get product, you know, it's going to be a hefty cost. And it's like, if you want to get the new information for your tournament, you're going to have to pay a hefty cost. And I don't like that. Let's talk about some.
Well, that's true from one point of view, because some people do not have the ability to afford a spreadsheet on top of getting a deck and traveling to a YCS. From the other point of view, if you remember, like YCS Bologna, Joshua Smith, Pac, Ness, all of these people were playing Castira Finsmith, which was something crazy back then. The whole venue like heard of it. And basically all of them but one or two people topped the event. So if you are a competitive player and you want to top an event, getting in the testing circle of these pro players, even through a spreadsheet or a masterclass, it can be very beneficial. Obviously you're not gonna profit from YGO product or possibly YCS top, but we're not YGO players because we want to get our money back. We pay money to play the game we love. So if these people want to spend an extra, I don't know how many dollars to do so, it's their choice. Like, we're all grown people, so if they choose to do it and they get rewarded out of it, good for them, right? The problem, I think, with a spreadsheet is when you buy one spreadsheet and it doesn't help you. It doesn't improve your ability to play, to understand the deck, or to understand the meta. This is a problem. The whole controversy that happened a few months ago is that the people selling the spreadsheet were basically showing not the final list. So if you're gonna sell a spreadsheet and you're not gonna update the list and basically sell something that is outdated by modern standards, even from a week of testing, like a week of testing can do a lot of stuff and they can improve a deck a lot in a 1 week. So if you, for example, buy my spreadsheet and I tell you to play this deck list and then 1 week later I update it and I don't let you know, this automatically puts you behind, as the famous quote says, basically, because you paid me to give you the most out of the testing and the maximum information about the deck. So when I hide information from you, even in a spreadsheet, that's just not the point of the spreadsheet. It basically removes the idea of having a spreadsheet and coaching session. So this is my personal issue with having spreadsheets. When that thing doesn't happen, I think spreadsheets can be something useful to an extent for some players.
Something that I feel like is really important too. That's credibility. And this is something where, you know, I'll admit I get a lot of hate constantly. People are like, you can top regionals, but you haven't topped a YCS yet, so you shouldn't be talking about the top meta in any of your videos. You're not qualified to do so. Well, let me tell you, I know a lot of you love sports, okay? Let me put it like this. Thunder just won the NBA Finals, right? And as a person, most of us are not NBA players. We're not. But if I told you, like, a hypothetical scenario, right, that Lou Dort was leaving the team and going to, like, the Hornets, people would freak out. They'd be like, oh my god, that's massive. That's crazy. And then he'd be talking about how Lou Dort leaving the Thunder would be a huge hit to the team, the way that they get down the court, the way that they pass the ball, the way that they interact in a game. You would know that, and you're not an NBA player, right? So even me on this channel, even if I'm not an NBA star, I know that I study and study and study and just hammer hours of Yu-Gi-Oh! And just talk to so many different players, watch so many different matches, run so many decks, and really am.
One person in the chat said Lou Dort isn't even the best defender in Oklahoma. Okay, I don't think that was his point. I think he brought up this example to show that his opinion is credible even if he's not the best player and even if he doesn't have enough tops. Which you can look at it both ways. From one point of view, yes, some people, even without tops, can appreciate some facts and they can understand when basically the spreadsheet is valuable or not. But from the other point of view, you have to understand that the people who top regularly events are basically the pro players. What I'm saying is that they have more experience. So if they are selling a spreadsheet, I think it's at least worth listening to them, what they can provide you. Because if you get personal coaching from a pro player that has multiple tops, I don't think you can get you cannot get the value. I think the most value this game can give you is knowledge, and when you gain the knowledge and you can understand the game from a different point of view, you are starting to improve a lot, and then you can regularly top the events. So from YGO's perspective, I can understand that because he's not a player that he has topped a lot of events, and I think after I saw this video, I think he hasn't even topped a nationals. You can look at it from a more casual player's perspective, but I think the spreadsheets are there for the players who really want to do well, and for those who want to get an extra top in an event like a YSS. Some people do tend events for fun and casual, but the people who are willing to spend money on spreadsheet go there to get the most out of it, to get the highest place, to win an event. And winning a YCS these days like makes you so popular. And for example, let's say you bought a spreadsheet with $50, right? If you happen to win a YCS, then you can basically teach the deck to other people, the deck you played, so you can get the value you bought like quadruple back. If, let's say, one of my students goes and plays Dragon Tail and then wins the YCS, then he can sell his knowledge for even more money. So I don't think the money is the issue in that regard. So let's continue.
Able to come up with solid guides for people to watch for free on YouTube. And that's something that I like to do for others because I feel like not everyone has the same amount of time. People have kids. People work long hours at work. People have other obligations in life than just constantly being on Dueling Book, right? And that is something that I am so glad that I can do for y'all. Thank you all for the support. I do what I can. And, you know, just to shout out the guy again for winning German Nationals with Blue Eyes and then commenting and saying that the videos really did help with that progression. You know, another person commented, Yu-Gi-Oh! Time Wizard, you know, thanks for your comment too. Got second at a regional. A lot of it's from the videos, from what they said. And, you know, I've had several success stories from people that just tell me, you know, like, hey, watching your content has been a huge up to my game, and this is amazing. And, you know, I would like to feel like my channel really did bring in the age of Yu-Gi-Oh! Knowledge content in YouTube and meta content, because no one did this.
This I can relate a lot. I'm a small YouTuber, even smaller than GG, and I can relate to the fact that we put as much as competitive content we can out there and basically show information on YouTube that. But you have to understand, at the same time, the people that have the best knowledge in the game and they are the pro players, the absolute best in the game, they will not do this on YouTube. For example, Jesse Cotton pack will not show you the absolute best of them, basically, on YouTube. They will not show their deck list, they will not show their combos. Because if they do that, they will lose strategic advantage. They are willing to do this if you pay them to show you the combos, but they shouldn't do this for free, and no one has the obligation to do this. If someone goes on YouTube and wants to find how to play Dragon Tail, for example, yes, my videos can help a lot, but after a while, there's so much that the videos can do, right? I think my students, at least, have learned a lot more from my personal coaching, because the videos cannot show everything. And the videos that can, for example, there are not videos that you will easily watch, because they will not be 10 minutes. You can't learn a deck in a 10-minute video combo. So yeah, I understand his perspective. I understand that he puts as much competitive content out there, but at the same time, the best players in the game do not. And the best players are the ones that have the most knowledge about the game. So if you want to get the most out of it, it is pretty reasonable to go and basically buy their coaching. I'm not saying that you shouldn't watch the competitive content YGOs make, or I make, or some other YouTubers that maybe some of you don't even know, because they can have some hidden gems. But at the same time, they do not have the absolute best idea of the format. And neither do I, neither do them. And that's the reason, I mean, most people don't come at us.
Outside of like MST doing like damage reports and different like tier lists, there's not a whole lot of people that were actually talking about like the tech cards, the things that you should know, the ways that you should play, the things that are important when you go to events, the different rulings that can come up in matches and how they interact, the meta end boards, the where to hand traps. No one did these, right? And then I felt like it was important enough to really put the time in to make these videos. So it angers me when I see paywalls coming up and people are just juicing the community forum. And I think that that's just like ill-intended. I don't think that that's something that is healthy and should be gate kept, right? I think that having info out and making this game an even slate is the most important thing possible. I think that if you have a hierarchy of information and that's it, like YouTube used to be the spot. Like the YouTube comment section was the only place that you could go to talk to other players about different ideas and texts. Now, there are YouTube videos and there's where to hand traps, there's meta end boards, there's tier lists, there's different things talking about what cards you should play in what decks, siding guides, deck building guides. These are the resources that you can use to help build your own decks and really set forth a better time in the game. And nobody likes to lose. It's going to happen in games. It really will. But, you know, the better you get off of all the information that you learn, this is going to be something that really does help you. Not buying the $80 spreadsheet, right?
Well, I think he contradicted himself there, because he said the most information you get, the better you become at Yu-Gi-Oh! Which is correct, right? This is what I'm saying the whole video right now. But the supposed goal of the spreadsheet is to give you that information. I don't know if they do. I haven't bought a spreadsheet from other YouTubers, but if they do that, this is the whole point. Because the spreadsheet are supposed, by default, to give you the most information a person can give you. So this is how you gain the maximum information in the least time possible. Also, I want to mention a previous example he brought from people that don't have time. These are actually the people that buy the spreadsheet because they do not have time to go and make a personal research on YouTube or other platforms to find the deck. This is why they buy the spreadsheet, because it acquires the least possible time available for them. I had a person come up to me and said, look, I do not have time for your coaching, but I really want the spreadsheet. And I said to him, that's fine. I don't support it because you're not gonna get the maximum information just from a spreadsheet. But if that's what the people want, that is fine. That is their choice again. I am trying to find Dragon Tail lists online to get inspiration. Everything looks so mid. Okay, let's stick to the video. For example, Yasin was selling a Christian spreadsheet and there was literally a free video with all the combos Yasin in the spreadsheet. He means that info should not be gatekept behind paywalls. Yes, that is true. If someone does not have time to learn the deck, then they don't have time to play at higher tier events. No, actually, that is not true. Many people can go for a trip to a YCS just for the sake of it, right? You will be surprised that not all 2,000 people that attend the YCS go there to top. Some people just go there for fun. Some people go there because it's near to them. Some people go for the travel and the company and everything, right? Not all the people go to top. If they top, that's nice for them. But if you see, for example, vlogs of some very good YouTubers like Distant Coder, Crash Cards, all of these, I have seen their vlog videos. Yes, some people do want to do well, but even if they don't care about it that much. You don't only go to a YCS to top. You go there to have fun and play the game with a lot of people from different nationalities, which is something nice, in my opinion. Yeah, but those people don't need to buy a spreadsheet. Yes, but the people that do buy the spreadsheet because they do not have time is the people that basically want to play a new deck as fast as possible and to learn a deck as fast as possible. That's what I'm saying. But it is indeed true that they don't buy a spreadsheet. Unless specifically they want to learn the deck immediately and they don't have time to test. Yes, people can go for fun, but at that point, why do they need the spreadsheet? Just to play their deck optimally. Learning a deck how to play optimally, it's not the same as going for the most competitive place out there. In my opinion, at least. I could be wrong. I'm not saying that I'm 100% right. I'm just expressing my objective opinion. And I also show example that I have seen personally in YCS. I'm not saying that is correct or smart or anything, but I'm saying that I have seen such examples. Learning the deck as fast as possible is just as bad as watching the 10-minute video right before the event. I agree. I completely agree with you. Yes, I'm not saying it's right, but at the same time, people do it. I'm all against it, basically, but that doesn't stop people from doing it. And I think these people do know it, but it might give them some sense of security and that, oh, at least I know the combos so I can play the deck and not fuck up every play. Because even if you go for fun, if you play a deck and you literally don't know how to play it, I think that's not even fun for you, right? You should still learn the deck, even if you go for fun. That is my opinion. I don't know if you agree with me. Please let me know, though.
And they're never gonna tell you the tech. They're not gonna do that. No one's gonna post a whole video and be like, by the way, search Fossil Vina and summon it at the end of your combo, you auto-win. No one's gonna tell you that before a big tournament. That's not gonna happen. They're gonna be like, here is the most mid YouTube combo possible. This is 3 different variations. And that's something that you can just find. You know, that's not something that you have to buy, you know, you can just find that. That's not going to be something that is out of your reach. You'll also never see the final list, right? They're just a guide to get you there. And that's something that you could find on YouTube. It's not necessarily going to be something that you should pay for if it's just going to be generic information about what a deck does, right? I think that that is something that is kind of heinous. If you are going to be buying a final list, final text, and information that you think is going to be very well kept a secret because you think that it's going to be the edge for an event. Maybe, I guess, but like, even then, you can't trust that you're going to see the actual final list. You're not going to see the actual tech cards that are ended up used.
And that's exactly my point from previously, because if you buy a spreadsheet and you're not seeing the final list or the text that is playing, then you're not getting your money's value. That's exactly my point. So if you're buying a spreadsheet and this shit happens, yeah, that is completely unfair and not worth. He's 100% correct on that, and this was basically their biggest problem with Pac saying that GWC was bad back in some months ago. True, I also believe that for people going to top, then spreadsheets have their place. $5-10 makes sense as you're selling your information that you're top, okay? But 20% is wild. That's exactly the reason that my spreadsheet is worth less than $20. It's 15. And that's exactly what I believe as well. Because the moment you go above that price, then I don't believe that's fair. Because how many events will you attend to? The people that buys the spreadsheet. If a pro player, for example, goes to 100 YCS a year, then getting help from another pro player for $50 could be worth, because he's going to a lot of events. But for the most people that go to one, maybe two YCSs a year, then buying a spreadsheet for above $20 or so, yeah, that's not worth. I completely agree with that.
There's going to be different ways to think about the deck, different tech cards used all the time. Testing, especially before an NAWCQ, is going to be day-to-day changes. Things will move up and down a tier list constantly until we're actually at the event, because that's when it's just go time, right? So
yeah, that's exactly my point from previously as well. Basically what I said is, if you change your deck in a week of testing, then you should inform the people that bought your spreadsheet, because you are testing day and day, as YGO very correctly says. Because if you are testing every day and you are making different assumptions about the meta, then you should inform the people that are buying your help, right? The moment you don't, then you're not fair to them. And that's why you should always update the spreadsheet. And that's what I do. I have put links of my decklist, so a person that goes to an event, he can watch the decklist one day before, and he can see the final result, basically from the testing. So that is a very good point.
So right now, even Lunalight, people were like, oh, Lunalight's going to be a really scary deck. And now people are like, oh, it'll be okay. There's a lot of outs to that. There's so many outs to Liger Dancer, right? Like, there's a lot of things that do change. And even though it's going to be a deck that you want to respect, and it's going to be at the event, it's still not going to be the scariest, because you guys have free content on YouTube to go ahead and see how to out these things that are going to be problematic. My first competitive deck ever, King Cosmo. This deck was enough to give you a headache. This was so hard to learn. You could have different combinations of ships and Cosmo Town and Fire King Island and just a whole array of cards that you could draw that you just had to know what to do with that specific set of cards. One of the best videos I've ever seen was blown away. It was by Top Tier Yu-Gi-Oh! I probably watched this video all the way through like 25 times. When I was trying to learn these combos and get them down back when this was a thing, I spent hours just watching and going through these combos because these were so hard. These videos are out there, and it's not from your top YouTubers. A lot of times, it's going to be like your small-time YouTuber trying to find their start, and they will post things like this constantly. And the content is out there. It might not be from the person that you want to watch because you're like used to watching only like the top 5 tubers, but it could be from like a small channel and they do great content. Usually you can find the best content, honestly, from like smaller channels. You really can. And I think that's something that is really overlooked. But things like this was extremely helpful. And guess how much money I spent to watch this? None. It was just out on YouTube. And these are things that you can find. And this wasn't even just...
The only issue I have with this example is that this was back in 2016. And previously in the video he said that, oh, back in the day YouTube was like this, now it's not. Well, that is the exact example. Because back in the day, maybe you could find actual competitive and decent content from YouTube. But now the pro players that sell the information do not put this kind of stuff on YouTube. So this stuff is not, it's not the fact anymore. It's not the way to find the best information out there. I'm not saying that there aren't small YouTubers that put competitive content and decent content for a deck. That's what I am trying to do personally. I'm trying to put the best Dragon Tail list I can. But at the same time, you can't bring up an example of, 9 years earlier. Because a lot of stuff has changed in 9 years and the information gets around a lot nowadays. Back in the day, YouTubing wasn't such a big deal apart from some combos and deck lists. But now it's so much more, in my opinion. And I think Farfa also said this in the video. So yeah, I'm not saying that these YouTubers do not exist. But the game and the way information spreads also changed. I hope you agree with me, but this is not, in my opinion, a good example. This is what used to happen, but not anymore. Also, a side note, I don't think Fire King Cosmo was that big of a deal to learn. I think Island pop a ship, then bring the lowest level. That's not that's not such a big deal in my opinion, but I have not played back in the day. I started 1 year later than this, so I could be wrong.
Just like all basic combos. This was like very complicated combos, right? And very well organized combos. And this is something that I think is very cool, and it is out there for most things that you're looking for. It is out there. People love certain decks to death, right? Like people love Cosmo, people love Subterror, people love all these different kinds of decks. The content's out there. You just gotta find it. It's on YouTube. I know that was a really long rant of me just kind of talking about spreadsheets and how much I hate spreadsheets, but like, it's very true. I think that you all should have an equal opportunity to play this game and really understand at a deeper level and have access to knowledge and have your guides ready to go, have your study guides, have your hand trap slides, have all these different things.
Okay, I saw one person in the chat said GG YGO had some wild takes. His tier is crazy. Look, I don't know exactly what he said, apart from this video and two more that I saw, but he didn't make that many wrong he didn't make that many wrong examples of his opinion in this video. I think most of his stuff that said was correct. Maybe he should express them a bit differently to cover the general population a bit more, because I think some people have a lot different opinions. But yeah, I don't know what you guys will think. Obviously, you will also let me know in the comments, because this is gonna be a video. And if for some reason GGYGOs comes across my video, I would also like to know your opinion. Because this is what matters, and I'm reacting to your content basically. But yeah, the video has some decent points, but it also has some points that I personally do not agree with, based on my experience both with the game and with the players. But yeah, in general the video has good points, yes, I agree. His information sharing is on point, his meta reads need work. Well, the video is not gonna be about his meta knowledge. The video is gonna be about spreadsheet drama and stuff, because it's a very hot topic right now. So yeah, this is the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and we will continue with the stream.